Hello, it is Shannon here. Today I just wanted to share my new Christmas template sets that are up in the Shannon Pages shop, and also just do a little kind of brief beginner's tutorial for using layered PSD templates. I've got a bunch of different sizes for these ones. So I know some people like to do a smaller project, a December daily, or just a mini album or something like that. So I've got 4x8 and 6x8. I also have the larger sizes because I know not everybody wants to do just a December album. They might just want to do a couple of pages in their regular album, their Project Life album, their yearly album, whatever you like. So I've got the sizes 8x10 letter, 9x12, 6x8, 4x8, 10x8, and 12x12. So there should be something, in there for everybody. This is a quick look at the 8x10 and 8.5x11 preview page, and you can just see we've got 10 different designs. All of the different sizes are basically this design. It just changes a little bit when you're going, from 4x8 to 12x12. It comes out a little bit differently, but this is the gist of it. They all have titles. The titles aren't editable, but of course you can change them out, and I will show you how to do that shortly. And I also include, as I do every year, a calendar page. That's this little guy here, so that you can just document your December in one page if you really just want to go with that. I just wanted to say a quick word about Photoshop and Photoshop Elements. I use Photoshop Elements. It's what I've used my whole digital scrapbooking life, and I know a lot of people are using Canva and would like to use templates in Canva. I just don't use Canva. I don't really want to kind of learn another program when this program is just so much better for what I want to do. So I just encourage people to, take a look, see if maybe Photoshop or Photoshop Elements might give you some more things once you've learned some skills in Canva. Photoshop is a more expensive product, has a lot of bells and whistles, and is a monthly subscription. Photoshop Elements used to be a much cheaper option until recently they changed the purchase to a 3-year license. So that means when you buy Photoshop Elements, which you buy outright, you don't pay a monthly subscription, but it's only going to last you 3 years until you have to buy it again. That's a new thing, and I don't love that, but that's, the way things are going. So it costs in Australia, I think, $145. So if you factor that over a 3-year period, it's still quite a good priced thing. I'm using Photoshop Elements 2019, so I'm really getting my value out of it. And that's what I really recommended to everybody back in the day, because once you pay your upfront cost of Elements, it's yours. And it used to last until your computer didn't like it anymore, or until they bought something out really amazing that made you want to upgrade. But like I said, I'm using Elements 2019, and I'll do that until it's not working anymore, or something really great is happening in the new versions, and then I'll have to upgrade it, and I'll be on that 3-year cycle with everybody else. When I do my digital layouts, I like to basically bring photos in as my first thing generally. So what I've done here is I've gone through and found a bunch of my old sort of December photos from previous years and brought them in to play around with. To do that, I have Lightroom. So I just open Lightroom up. Let's get out of those papers, and I'll just go to, say, December last year. And if I want to bring one of these photos down, I just drag it to the Photoshop Elements icon in my dock, and it pops open. There's other ways to do it. I'm on a Mac, so I talk a lot about Command instead of Control. It's the same thing on the PC. So I'll do that, but you can, File, Open, you can go Command O and bring your photos in wherever they might be living on your computer. But I think having a bunch of photos down here in this photo bin, it sort of gets you started, is a good way to begin. Okay, so here is a Christmas celebration digital template. If you haven't worked with digital templates layered templates, whatever you want to call them, at all. A digital scrapbooking template is just like a scrapbook page sketch. So it gives you spaces for your photos, spaces for your journaling, titles, things like that. But being digital, you can just mask your photos in and you can change things around a lot more. For this one, you can see I've got 4 photo spots, a title, and journaling. The title, you can't change. It can't be edited because I want you to open the template and see the title exactly like this, with this font, with these words at this size. Of course, you can turn it off. So if you want to change the title to something else, you just hit this little I button and it's disappeared, or you put it into the bin. And Command Z undoes whatever you're doing. If we could have Command Z in life, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be great? But I try not to put things in the bin because I change my mind a lot. So I tend to sort of turn layers off I don't want. And then at the end, you can get rid of what you don't need. The basic thing you need to learn with using layer templates is how to put a photograph into it. So we've got our lovely kind of group of photographs here. What we need to do is just choose one of these spots. So I'm going to choose this top left one. I've clicked on it. You can see it's selected and it's selected over here. And I'm going to drag up what am I going to bring? This photograph. And it should bring it up on top in this layers palette of that particular spot. And what I'm going to do is just make it smaller. And we do that by using the corners only so we don't get any kind of janky stretched out things, so corners. And then once I'm there and happy with that, I'm going to choose Option Command G or whatever it is on the PC to mask it in. And once it's masked in, you can move it and make it larger, make it smaller inside, but it generally puts it into that shape. And then we go ahead and we basically fill our shapes with our photographs. And that's how we build a digital scrapbook page. I'm just shrinking this one down a bit and then I'm going to bring it up. Need to make it a bit larger. And there we have it. It is in. If for some reason we only have one photograph for a Christmas celebration, or we only want to use one photograph, we can change the templates around. So let's get rid of this photograph. I'm throwing that into the bin. I'm throwing that into the bin. We start again. So let's have a look here if there's a larger... So this one perhaps. All right. So we want to use this photograph of the table setting only. There's 2 ways to do it. So one way you can go with your shift. So I'm selecting this one. I'm selecting this one. I'm holding shift the whole time I'm doing it. And you can do it down here or you can do it on the screen there. So I've got my 4 spots selected. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go merge layers. And what that will do is create one photo spot of the 4. So if I drag up this photo and I mask that in the same way, Option Command G, you can see it's putting it over all 4 spots, which is one way to do it. If I take it off, hang on, I'll just Command Z back to get it all back. The other option, of course, is to pick this one and you want to drag it across over the top and you drag it down there. I would just turn the other layers off in case any bits are sticking out or something's happening there. And I'll put the same photo in. And I'm going to Option Command G that one and play around, with the placement, which is always fun. But that's a way to just kind of make the template work for the way you want to work. Okay, let's have a look at our title here, A Christmas Celebration. If you really don't like that or you want to use this particular template for something else, you can just switch it off and add your own. Go to this text tool, pop it in and just say Christmas lunch. And you'll pick a font that you love. You might make it a bit larger than this. Maybe not that large. And you can do your own title, of course. That's your prerogative. But if we're going to keep this title, there's some different options we can do in terms of recoloring it. So I love red for Christmas. So all of these templates have this red theme, but you might want to do something else. I think for this particular one, the red really, really works. But say you want to use, let's put a different photo up there. This one is a bit more colorful. I'm just going to do the same thing and mask it straight over the top of the other one. I mean, you can get rid of the old one first, but that's fine. So sometimes you can use your photographs as color inspiration. So we've got, you know, this blue and this red and this gold. So what I might do is I get my color picker and I just literally take a color. I'm looking over here because you can see it's all different. Parts of this are different. But say I go, okay, that's the blue. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say edit fill layer and I'm going to use my foreground. And that's given me that nice kind of aqua color of these things. And I might also change my text as well. That's that. But then I might want to add a different color in. So, you know, we're back to the red or we've got the gold. So what if we select one of these reds and we want to change just the word celebration? We can go back onto that layer, get our bucket tool here, our paint bucket, and we just need to click inside, and I've got red chosen here, click inside each piece. It's a bit tedious but also fun. Don't forget that little guy there. And then we have, you know, our multicolored title there. Okay, so this one is the same thing, except we're using circles for our mats, and it works in exactly the same way. Circles are sometimes a bit tricky to put photos in. Not all photos look good in a circle, so, you know, play around with it. But we've got here, what can we do? We'll put this photo above that red one. Wait, Command Z, saving my life as always. Remember, we can move it around in there. We just don't want to see any of the background color. So that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and put the dog, because she is very important, into this little spot. My computer's very slow, as we know. If your photo lands in the wrong spot, you just need to find the spot you're talking about and move your photo over the top. I'll put that in. I know that's the wrong size, and then I'll shrink it up here. There she is. Something like that. And then what if we just put one more down here? This cookie photograph. There we go. So that's all the photos in. You can do with these photo spots, these are literal spots, but any of these photo mats, you can put pattern paper in there or just play around with different colors. So this one particularly would be good for pattern papers or colors. So let's try. I've got here an Ali Edwards December Daily digital pattern paper. So I've just brought that in like I would with a photograph, and same process. I'm popping it up here. I'm making sure it is above my layer, and I'm just masking it in with the Command Option G again. And you can go around sort of and fill all of these with these beautiful papers. But let's have a look instead at doing some colors. So I think this kind of design is really good for sort of doing a bit of a color scheme. When I'm really stuck on colors or I'm trying to get some inspiration of colors that go with each other, Pinterest is my best friend. I've shared this tip a lot, but let's just have a look. This is my Pinterest homepage. Hope there's nothing embarrassing on there. If I type in, which I've previously done here, color palette, Christmas, vintage, you could put in modern, whatever, you know, kind of thing, whatever vibe you're going for. This works for like summer, winter, any kind of vibe. There's a Christmas palette for it. So let's have a look here. We've got some really traditional ones, but I quite like this one. And all I do is I drag it down as I would a photograph into my Elements editor, and then it pops up into Elements there, which I already have done. So what I want to do is open that up side by side so I can pick some of these colors. And I love to collect color palettes. I have a whole Pinterest board just for color palettes. I think, you know, it's really helpful. So I'm going to take this orangey red color and I'm going to fill this one. So I'm clicking on this one and I've made sure that that's my foreground. I'm grabbing my paint bucket and I'm just clicking on there. I'm also going to do that for this one. Same color. There. Then I might do this greeny yellowy color and I'm going to do the same up here. Grab this one, put it in, and probably this one down here and put it in there. And now the brown. Brown might not seem Christmassy, but hey, it's on this vintage Christmas palette. So somebody said it is, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to use the brown here. And there we have a really nice kind of cohesive palette that we've found elsewhere. You can also bring in images of paintings or anything you like with colors that you like, and you can just directly pick them with the color picker. It's really cool. Then the final thing is we should look at the coloring here of our title, Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And probably if we did this yellow / green, it will probably be too bright, of course, but let's try edit fill layer. When you're dealing with sort of thin fonts, I think that's a little bit too, but I think the red would be, you know, it was already red, but the red to match our red that we're using. And there we go. This is a great example, this one, where we can easily cut our title apart as well. So click on your title. We'll go under here. And I'm just going right around time of the year, layer, new, layer via cut. And what that does is cut our word art into two pieces. That means you can independently do something to each one without it affecting the other. So, you know, you can change the size. In this case, we might just change time of the year to a different color, because sometimes I just like having my titles in two different colors. So the most wonderful time of the year. So that's that. Then, you know, add your journaling in. Also, when I make my templates, I always put my journaling in Arial in size 10. That's just because everybody has it. So, you know, go ahead, use your favorite font for your journaling as well, and make it larger if you need to. All my fonts are really small in my projects, which I may regret, you know, a few years down the track as the eyesight starts to sort of deteriorate. But, you know, that's just there for you to make a choice of whatever journaling you would like. The final thing we need to do with these pages is to either flatten them. So we just do layer, flatten, or which will turn it, we can save it then into a JPEG, or you can just straight save it into a JPEG. So you just want to be able to, which is, you know, JPEG. So all I'm doing here is changing format to JPEG, saving that, and then you can send it anywhere you would normally send a photo to print at this size, or print from home. One more quick thing about these titles that are flattened like this and simplified is that they are also can act as a photo spot as well. This is probably not a great example, so let's bring up this Ali Edwards paper again. And like with our photo, we're just putting it above that layer, above that text layer. And if I say Option Command G, it actually masks it into the words. Not a great example of doing that here, but I've done that before in travel, especially if you've got like a huge Fiji title or something like that, and you can put a nice beach photograph into that. So as long as the titles are simplified like these are, you can use those as photo masks as well. Just a little tip there. Okay, let's have a look at this calendar page. I designed this because I think it's great to have like an overview of your whole season, or you just might not want to do anything more than this. And if, you know, If this is enough for you, 1 page in your album for December, fantastic. Like before, we can't change the December calendar title. We can recolor it. We can make it bigger and larger. If you want to change sizes, you just need to grab that corner again. And if we want to totally take it out, so let's turn it off with that eye or delete it. Let's get the text tool. Say you wanted to use this in January calendar. Let's make that, say, 50. Okay. Not very inspiring font, but anyway, we're on this layer. We've used the text tool, and we're just going to say image, rotate. We want to just rotate this layer 90 degrees to the left, not the whole thing. Otherwise, your whole page will flip. And remember, you can just always do Command Z, Control Z, get rid of it. And you can put your own there. But we will leave our January title in there. Okay, so this is designed to just do a few words and a photograph. We're putting the photographs in exactly the same way we did everything else by, what else have we got here? This photo of the city. So we're just going to mask that into these little spots. Each of the numbers is also simplified, so you can't delete it. I mean, you can't change it. But if you have a great number font you want to use, or digital numbers or stamps or something like that, you can just go here and turn them off. I've got them all singular because I thought you might want to change, colors, multiple colors throughout the different numbers or something like that. So always try to leave everything on its own layer, so what you do with number 2, you don't have to do with number 14. And then you would just go in and type your little thing about your day and move on to day 2. Now, not everybody is going to have days that fit this calendar exactly how I've got it. So there's some options you can do to move it around. First of all, what I would do is over here, if you get into this ruler, and just make sure your rulers are, turned on here, bring it over and put it next to, you're really putting it next to the journaling. You can see in the design, the journaling and the number are a bit bumped in, and then this is right to the end. So if you get your get your ruler and just do it next to these, that'll make sure you're lining everything up correctly. And you already know where the line for the photos is because we've got this dotted line here. By the way, the dotted line is its own thing and can be recolored and everything as well. Where have we got that? The dashed line. You can turn that off if you wanted to, or you could recolor that as well. So that's just one piece. So now we've got that there. So what if on the first you didn't have any photographs, but you just wanted to talk about something, and then on the second you have nothing to say, but you've got this great photograph? You can sort of switch things around. So let's, for example, let's get rid of the journaling and say, okay, on the first, you took this photo of the city. You don't really have anything to say about it. Just turn it off for a moment, the photograph. Go back to here, and you can drag this out. Just keep it nice and straight and not too close to that too. And you get a larger photo. And if you want to do the same thing for 2, so 2 might be the same thing. You might not have anything to say, but you can just duplicate this one. So just Command J, and you get another photo instead. And you can move all these around. The other thing that might happen is you might not have something to say or a photo for every single day between 1 and 24. You can always so say we took 3 totally out. So we're going to turn 3 off. We're going to make this larger. And we're just going to go 1, 2, 4. And we can do that all through here. We can make things larger, we can make things smaller. Or if we have a lot to say on day 7 and no photos, we can always turn that off and go in and stretch this out. And then you can journal all the way down there. So these are quite easy to kind of move around. I've put them in a way that kind of mixes it up, but it's not going to be 100% matching your December. So please, feel free to move those around. I think I will leave it there. I mean, we could spend hours doing a real deep dive into how to digital scrapbook from the beginning for beginners. And that's something I do want to do in the future. But for today, let's just make this sort of be a nice overview of how to use digital templates and specifically how I envision these Christmas digital templates to be used. I hope everybody has a fantastic December. I hope to be sharing a few more videos over the season. We'll see how that goes. I don't even know what I'm doing for my December project yet. I know I will do one. I'm just not sure in what format. And often, I don't really make a plan until December 1, but I feel like being in Sydney, I get an extra day because I'm kind of ahead of the game. So it just gives me a little bit extra time to kind of think, oh, it's December, what am I going to do? So I hope everybody's scrappy mojo is in abundance in December, and I will talk to you all again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.